Queen Nerdling here today, and we're going to be discussing cell structure and function. So let's go ahead and get started. So before we delve too far into the content, I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. So over the next few lectures in this unit, cells, we're going to be talking about these guys. So cells, which are our smallest unit of life. We are not going to be talking about these guys. These are viruses and they are non-living. This is one of the biggest misconceptions that I hear as a biology teacher and just as someone that hears other people talking about viruses or bacteria. Bacteria are cells. Viruses, such as this little guy wreaking havoc in 2020 with the coronavirus, is not. So in this lecture, we're going to be taking a look at cell structure as well as their subcellular components. So the question that you should be able to answer at the end of this is, how do the structure and the function of cell organelles enable the cell to maintain homeostasis or balance? So first of all, let's talk a little bit about cell compartmentalization. So compartmentalization into those subcellular components allows cells to increase control and efficiency for cellular processes. So just like we have different organs inside our body, we have a heart and lungs and kidneys and gallbladders and bladders, and they all have different functions within our body that help us to maintain homeostasis and thrive and survive. So different areas in the cell can be specialized for different metabolic tasks. Now, keeping in mind, we have two different types of cells. We have prokaryotic cells, and then we have eukaryotic cells. These are probably terms that you heard of back in freshman biology, or you might be hearing about it now if you're watching this for freshman biology. You may have also heard about this in elementary school or in middle school. At some point along your career as a science student, you have had to make some type of Venn diagram or T-chart comparing and contrasting prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. So a couple of things that you should make sure you know. One, there's a major dividing line in cellular organization. Prokaryotic cells do not have internal compartments. Eukaryotic cells have many internal compartments, meaning they have many different organelles that perform many different functions within that cell, whereas prokaryotic cells do not have membrane-bound organelles. They're also much smaller. So as far as prokaryotic cells go, they are referred to as bacteria. Now we do have two different types of prokaryotic cells. We have archaea, and those are the archaic cells. They're really, really old, and they're also classified as those extremophiles, meaning they love extreme environments. Those are our halophiles, our thermophiles, meaning that they love extreme heat. So we have archaea, again, extremophiles, bacteria that live and thrive in these extreme environments, such as those hydrothermal vents at the bottom of the ocean. And then we have eubacteria. Eubacteria is what we encounter pretty much on a daily basis. So the vast majority of life on Earth is actually bacteria. It's always unicellular, uni meaning one, and it contains one single circular chromosome that's made of DNA and generally smaller than eukaryotes. So these circular chromosomes are referred to as plasmids. Fun fact. For eukaryotic cells, we have different types. We have protists, we have fungus, and we have plants, and we have animals. So we have unicellular eukaryotic cells. We have multicellular eukaryotic cells that compose fully functioning, most of the time, people such as myself. They may also form a fully functional plant. So eukaryotic cells also have multiple linear chromosomes. So remember, chromosomes, we have our two little guys right here. And then if we go through the process of mitosis, they're splitting. We also have meiosis, which deals with chromosomes. We'll get into both of those processes in a later video. We also have eukaryotic cells that are generally much larger than prokaryotic cells because they have so many different types of functions within them. So we have plant-like eukaryotes, and we also have animal-like eukaryotes. So for example, plant-like eukaryotes are adapted for autotrophic nutrition. Now that word auto means automatically, and trophic is going to be referring to those energy levels. If we go back to ecology and you saw those little pyramids and you talked about energy transformation through those trophic levels. So autotrophic organisms make their own food or nutrition through the process of photosynthesis. And this includes plants as well as plant-like or photosynthetic protists. We have our animal-like eukaryotes. These are adapted for heterotrophic nutrition. Now, hetero means different. So they're getting their nutrition from different trophic levels on that pyramid. And this includes animals. Fungi are actually absorptive, meaning they absorb their nutrients. They are absorptive heterotrophs. And then we also have heterotrophic protists. So organelles within these eukaryotic cells increase cellular efficiency. Just like the beginning of this lecture when I was talking about all of the organs in my body working together to make me function, so do all of the organelles within a cell. And within those cells, they each have specific functions that help maintain homeostasis, they help digest different types of nutrients, and they also help to get rid of waste. So one subcellular component, and notice that I did not say organelle. Ribosomes are a subcellular component. They are not bound, so they are not a membrane-bound organelle. Ribosomes are a subcellular component, and they are found in both eukaryotic and prokaryotic cells. So again, they're universal in all cells, and they function to make proteins. They have two subunits, and they are composed of RNA, or if you're trying to be super fancy schmancy, rRNA, which is ribosomal RNA. They exist free in the cytoplasm in prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. However, in eukaryotic cells, they can also be found attached to the endoplasmic reticulum. Free-floating ribosomes make proteins for use inside the cell, and bound ribosomes make proteins destined for the outside of the cell. So if you're free-floating at a ribosome and the ribosome's making a protein, that protein is going to be utilized inside the cell. If those proteins are being synthesized at ribosomes that are attached to the endoplasmic reticulum, which is only in eukaryotic cells, those are going to be destined for the outside of the cell, and typically those will be used for cell signaling and communication. So I hope that little intro video to cells was helpful for you. Stay tuned for our next lecture when we delve further into the different types of organelles. For more videos like this one, visit www.nerdlingscience.com. This is the Queen Nerdling, signing off.